Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I wanted to share with you a story from my heart to yours about my own experiences these past 2 months and how I have been integrating the insight, the wisdom, the love that has reached me from these two beautiful back-to-back full moons in the sign of Capricorn. And the love that I felt is very much the love of a grandmother, the love of my grandmother Eva, who I didn't get to know much when she was alive here on the earth, but who I'm getting to know more and more through her continuing presence in every moment all around me. So first, let me just take you back to April when my parents came over to visit and my father brought me this handkerchief, which is something that my grandmother had and something that she treasured. You can see it says Souvenir de Paris. You can see some of the main sites. There's the Eiffel Tower, Notre Dame, there's the Sacré Coeur, there's the Arc de Triomphe. It's beautiful. And my grandmother never went to Paris. Well, at least she didn't go to Paris in her body. I'm sure she went in her dreams. And she treasured this handkerchief, and my father brought it to me to give to my daughter. And before I did that, I wanted to take my grandmother to Paris. And because Paris for me is supremely accessible, it amazes me every day that it's a 2-hour train ride from London. And it is. I booked myself a day to go. And I knew it was going to be wonderful. I knew it was going to be special. I knew it was going to be meaningful. I had no appreciation for how much it was going to change my life. So I didn't know much about what I was going to do when I arrived. I had an idea in my head that I wanted to take my grandma to the Sacré Coeur. She was Catholic. She was religious. That's not something that I grew up with. And as I've gotten older, I've come to appreciate her faith, what it meant to her, what it means to me. And so, as I exited the train and met two wonderful fellow Americans who were also heading to the Sacré Coeur, I was very literally guided to the base, looking up at the basilica on a wonderfully sunny morning. And I will say, in both Paris and London, these have been relatively rare these past 2 months. So to see that bright blue sky and to feel the sun shining on my skin, this alone was already magical. So let me just show you in pictures what it was like. There's me arriving at the base, of course, with someone who was there to take a picture for me. That's my wonderful Care Bear Bonnie, short for bonheur, which is French for happiness, and luck. I take Bonnie with me when I travel, and I share those pictures with my kids. It's just such a wonderful way to connect. And Care Bears, what a great symbol for love, huh? So that's me at the base of the Sacré Coeur. And when I studied in Paris in 1999, which I cannot believe was 25 years ago, I went to the Sacré Coeur many a time. I don't think I ever went in. And this time, even as I stood at the base there, I knew that I was going in. And so we climbed to the top of the stairs, which were adorned with these beautiful murals and bright colors in celebration of the Olympics, the eternal flame that will soon be arriving in this magical city. Climbed these stairs, and then alone, I walked in. The center is reserved for prayer. And as you can see, it was remarkably quiet and so welcoming on this warm, for once, summer's day. So first I walked around, I lit a candle for my grandmother, I got a souvenir coin, I wrote a prayer for her, I wrote a prayer for peace. I appreciated what it's like to be in a space where people have been praying continuously for well over 100 years. Truly, whatever your faith is, it was magic. And so I made my way to the front row and I prayed with my grandmother. And I remembered that when I had walked in the Sacré Coeur, I saw a man just in front of me had a tattoo on the bottom of his ankle that said, "No worries." And so as I sat down, I heard this message so loud and clear in my grandmother's voice. It said, "Give me your worries, child." And so as I sat there and as I surrendered, I felt what I can only describe. It was like this, almost like this briar patch, this kind of black, thorny body just come out of me. I felt it and I saw it go up into the heart of Jesus right there up above on that ceiling. And I saw it shine out in the sun behind him. I sat in floods of tears, suddenly aware of how much I had been holding on to, and suddenly aware of how free I was, how free I could be. And it didn't feel like the embrace of Jesus. It felt like the embrace of Mother Mary, this wonderful, divine, caring, feminine energy. And then I saw this vision. And I'd been wondering for the past few months about what it means to have ancestors, what it means to have DNA. I'm so aware more and more that we don't need to carry forward the trauma, the difficulty, the challenge, the weight of our ancestors, that they wouldn't want this for us. And that DNA is much more flexible than we thought, that we really can change our genetic destiny. And so I've wondered, as I've become more aware of this, what role ancestors play and what is it that they're passing on to us? And I saw this beautiful vision of my great grandmother, Louise, whose name I bear as a middle name, Lewis, holding a candle. And I watched as she lit the candle of my grandmother, Eva Mary. I watched as my grandmother lit the candle of my father. I watched as he lit my candle, and then I watched as I lit my daughter's candle. And I just had this deep appreciation for the sharing of the light, that my ancestors didn't pass me their baggage. Those might be things that I saw, might be things that I needed to carry, that I thought I needed to take forward, but it's not mine. What is mine is the light. And I'm here because of that light, and we share that light. It's the light that we see in the sky. It's the sun. It's the moon. It even brought this new awareness of the full moon to me and what it means when we see this moon fully reflecting back the light of the sun. For me too, with this full moon in Capricorn, this deep connection with our ancestors, with our legacy, with our history, with what sits in our bones. When the moon is in Capricorn, the sun is in Cancer. And Cancer is this place of this wonderful, caring, divine, feminine energy that I felt so clearly being reflected back to me. So it gave me an appreciation for my work, for my craft, for my life. The interplay between the sun and the moon, how it's all the same light that we're sharing, no matter how we look at it. And as I left, my grandmother on my shoulder, I felt and continue to feel like a different person. It's like the whole world is stretched out in front of me with open arms. And as I looked back up, that view was more clear and more beautiful than ever. Seeing those clouds rise up and disappear into the beauty of a crystal clear blue sky. And that's how it felt for me too. So I'm just so grateful for that experience. I'm so glad that I have a way to share it with you. And I hope that as we all move to integrate our experiences over the past 2 months, that you too find a place in your heart for the love of your grandmother. Whether you know it or not, she's always with you. Thank you so much, and be well.